Before AI existed, I was writing six-figure sales letters, and I was doing it even then after 20 some years in a way I couldn't fully explain. You see, I'd spend weeks, my husband called it stomping around the house, researching, worrying, thinking it through, literally saying out loud, I don't know if I have any more words for this, and then I just do a lot of agitating. And I always set my deadlines for 3 to 4 weeks out. I gave myself plenty of time. I never just did something overnight because that's also part of creating the value of what you do, that you don't just turn it out on a moment's notice without giving it some thought. But when the time came, and I'd always know when it was, I'd sit down at the keyboard and I'd get in flow and I would write 40 to 50 page sales letters because we were still using the big, giant, long form sales letters. And it would just flow out. And I could do it in an afternoon, maybe, or maybe a morning and a little the next day, less than a full day. I would literally lose track of time. I had to be reminded to get up out of my chair because I was so into the flow of how it poured out. I called it at the time back of the mind. I would say percolating in the back of my mind. And I didn't really have a name for what it was. That's something that was working underneath that I wasn't consciously controlling. I just didn't have the language for it yet. But today, I want to share what I've learned about that because you might find it very helpful for yourself as well. And I'll be talking in a minute about why am I talking about copywriting again right now? It's not memorizing formulas. We're not forcing words out or just following someone else's lead. Something way deeper than that. It's really loading the deeper part of your mind with everything it needs, what we call subconscious, and then getting out of the way so it can do what it does naturally for you. No one ever taught me this. No one ever talked about this before I even had the tools for it, before I had a way to say it other than it's percolating in the back of my mind. My husband used to say, I don't know if you can teach people to do what you do. And it's because it's a very individual thing once we know how to access it. Because what I've come to understand is this: the same process that made my copy flow is the same process that makes a life flow when the inner blocks clear. It's all connected. Nothing separate about this. The block is never on the surface. It's never right there where we can see it. Oh, there it is. It lives in the same place the breakthroughs do. You have something real to offer. You know it. The people who know you know it. Maybe they tell you this. Oh, you should be selling this. Oh, why aren't you making a lot of money with this? Because when you sit down to write about it, something happens. The words won't come, or they come out flat. They're like describing someone else's work, or they sound like everybody else. You write the whole thing, you read it back, and you delete it before anybody sees it. One of the things that I've taught for forever, and I actually learned this from John Carlton decades ago, is you should feel something when your own messaging comes through. When you read your own copy, you should feel it. It should give you chills, or maybe even make you tear up, or make you feel super excited about the offer, as if you were going to go through this process yourself that you just wrote about. See, the thing is, it's not that you don't know your material. You know it better than anyone. But I've often said the worst client ever is the one looking back at you in the mirror, the one we see every day. There's just something about that. It's so much harder to write your own material, your own website. Something gets in the way between what you know and what you can say on a page. Or maybe the words do come, but they don't land. People say, wow, great post. Love you. She's so amazing. But nothing moves. You might get likes. You might get comments. But nothing else is happening. No one's reaching out to you to say, how do I work with you? No inquiries. Just polite and distant silence. Or you try the formula someone taught you, and it feels so wrong, you really just can't make yourself do it. You're trying to jam yourself into this, the round peg, the square hole, that whole deal. It just doesn't fit. Not because you're bad at marketing or you're lacking anything or you're broken in some way. It's because it isn't yours. It doesn't come from a real place. There's a big gap between your identity and what that formula is. And never the twain shall meet. The things just don't come together. What you're feeling when that happens is the gap between your inner copy, the messaging that's running within you, and your outer copy, the thing you're trying to write or say. The worlds are colliding. And until those two things are aligned, the best strategy keeps hitting a wall that you can't see. But you're probably feeling it. Now, right now, underneath everything you do, there is a conversation running. It is running right now, even as you listen to this. It's the voice within that says, who am I to charge that? Great for her, but I could never charge that much. It's the thought that finishes, people like me don't get to have ... fill in that blank, before you've even started it. Or what will other people say? What will my family think? What would happen if I made more than my mom or dad ever did? What happens when my friends find out I'm making that much money? Maybe I can't follow through. What if I can't live up to it? It's that program that says, wait, not yet. I'm not ready. I'm just not ready. Something could go wrong. I don't think I can handle it. There's so many on that list. I don't even like saying them aloud because I don't want my own subconscious to absorb that as any kind of truth or belief that I have. That is your inner copy. And it's writing your outer copy whether you know it or not. It's influencing it. It's permeating it with an energy you may not truly want to be there or mean to be there. We talk about how dogs can sense fear and horses can read your emotions. Well, so can everyday regular humans. They can read the message behind the message. They feel it. They may not be able to articulate it, but just something like, or ick factor, or I don't think so, or I'm really not interested, or I don't even know what the heck it is that they actually sell or what they actually do. You can spend months on strategy, on frameworks and formulas. And if the inner copy says you're not worth listening to, the outer copy will reflect that right back. Even though you think you're going to think your way through that, oh, I don't really believe that, something else is at work here. The person reading it won't know maybe even why it doesn't land. You won't know why it doesn't land. You think, I need more strategy. I must need another tactic. I must need another program. This is not a, quote, mindset problem. Positive thinking doesn't touch this. I've watched smart, capable people try for years to do the thing they know they're meant to do, but that other loop is running exactly the same afterwards, even though they're, quote, trying. And I really don't like the word try because it's kind of a weasel clause, like tiny print, side entrance. I just tried. And sometimes that's another thing that's running in the background that keeps you exactly where you are because you're, quote, trying. And so therefore it is justified. There's so many layers to this, but it doesn't have to be complicated to start peeling them back. You see, the inner copy lives below the level where positive thinking operates, where that thing you're supposed to say to yourself every single day. That copy, that inner copy, was written, engraved in stone sometimes, long before you started your business. And it's been running quietly ever since. And I mentioned the other day, without your permission. It's not like you're saying, yeah, okay, that's okay. It's okay with me. It's that you don't know where it even is or how insidious it is. It's just like weaving sticky fingers through everything that you do. I've spent over 20 years as a copywriter and marketing strategist. I started from absolute nothing. I was already 53 when I even learned what copywriting was. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know it was a thing. But I ended up writing campaigns that generated serious money for serious clients, millions of dollars. And copy that I've written went on for years, making those millions of dollars. So the initial investment someone made in me paid them back over and over and over again, sometimes for decades. And all along, there was something I understood about how the mind works in writing that I couldn't teach yet because I hadn't named it. I couldn't wrap my own hands around it. I just knew it was there. When I loaded the deeper mind with the right material and gave it time, something would emerge that I couldn't have forced with willpower, something that couldn't have happened just by following someone else's formula. The copy was better, the ideas were better, the real work had happened somewhere I wasn't watching. You know, when you see that shadow out of the corner of your eye and you look and there's nothing there? It's kind of like that. And I knew I wanted to understand more what was happening. So I became a certified hypnosis professional. I went through the training, got all the certifications, continued to study. And I started doing inner work with people, watching programs shift, watching voices change. Now, I've been doing this work at some level with people I worked with all along. I've been doing it with myself to a certain level all along. I would never have applied the word hypnosis to it or anything close to that. Like I said, I didn't even know how to articulate it. I just knew it was there. And I think there was an inner wisdom at work all along, which is how I did this first year of copywriting when I knew absolutely nothing about copywriting literally weeks before and already was turning 54 as I began this process. And I made $500,000 my very first year. Now, I've been asked since then, how did you do that? And it wasn't because I was in a program or a strategy or any particular coach, though I did take advantage of some of those things along the way. It was more, I realized only a few years ago did I finally realize this. It was because I had single-mindedly focused my intention that I was becoming a freelance copywriter. And I just didn't entertain any other option except that I would be successful with it. And I was excited about it. I had an energy behind it. I didn't even know how much money I was making part of the time. I'd have to ask my husband, how much am I making right now? You know, and I did it again the second year, and it just went on from there. And as time has gone on, and as I look back and learn from my own journey as well and the mistakes I've made, I finally understood these are the same thing. The flow state in those sales letters and the life that flows when old programs clear. Same mechanism, same source from within. The subconscious, given the right conditions, does what it knows how to do. And our job is to clear what's been layered on top of it, weighing it down, hiding it, obscuring it. Here's what I've realized, and I want to say it plainly. The inner work and the business work are not two separate things. They're not a sequence where you fix your head and then go build your business. They are peanut butter and jelly. You can have one without the other. They might both be delicious separately. But what you end up with is not a sandwich. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't satisfy. Something's always missing. Wow, if I only had that other bit of this bite, how much better that would be. For the people I work with in their 50s, 60s, and even beyond, my oldest client was in her 90s. The business problem is almost never just a business problem. It's just a symptom. This is identity. It's fear. It's visibility. It's old program that's been running so long, it feels like personality. It feels like, oh, it's just who I am. Maybe you've even said that. It's the part of you that knows you're capable of more and still feels that restlessness, like something is holding the door shut from the inside. That's why my work begins with the subconscious levels, that inner work, the identity work. Then we move into message, offer visibility and income. And when the inside starts to shift, the outside strategy finally has somewhere solid to land. Without the inner work, you're building on sand. Without the outer work, the inner shifts never reach the people they could change. You need both. They go together. That's the whole idea. Now, 3 years ago, I can't even believe it's been 3 years already. I thought maybe copywriting is behind me. AI came in. I was genuinely curious and maybe a little upset about it. What is this thing? My son has an advanced degree in AI from MIT, but I still didn't really know what the heck it was. I was genuinely curious and I started exploring what it could do. And some of it is remarkable. I use it. I actually use it every day, one way or another. It's part of how I work now. But here's what I've watched happen. The world got flooded with content that was generated instead of felt. Grammatically perfect, perfectly structured, landing with all the emotional weight of a form letter from your bank. People can tell. They may not know why, but something in them registers. Something recoils a little bit. Nobody was actually home when those words were written. Just emptiness. The pendulum always swings back, and it's swinging back right now. What it's swinging toward is human voice. Something like 55% of businesses that let their copywriters go because they thought AI would take their place are deeply regretting that and even panicking. They need people, they need lived experience, the kind of depth that comes from having actually walked the road you're writing about. That is the unprecedented opportunity for people over 50 right now. Not in spite of the AI moment, but because of it. Your age is not the liability. It's the asset the market is hungry for, and it's what younger copywriters and marketers can't do. I had a moment yesterday. We placed an order at Costco for Instacart. An order was arriving, and I admit I was feeling a little irritated because even though we had the instructions of where to bring the groceries to, we suddenly realized they were a completely different door of our house and had already unloaded groceries. And I could hear a voice saying, "Oh, I'll help you move it." My husband went out there saying, "Hey, you're at the wrong door. We need it over here." And I had a moment of, kind of one of those little eye roll moments. And then I saw the person delivering the groceries. I don't know how old she was, but she had gray hair. She was very thin. She even had like a dowager's hump, like some type of spinal stenosis or curvature. She looked a little frail, and she was toting the boxes. I felt horrible for even having a moment of impatience. And I was thanking her for shopping for us. And at the same time thinking, this is what she has to do. It was raining out, one of our rare rainy days here in Tucson. You know what the price of gas is right now. I was thinking how hard she had to work for whatever she was going to make from that. And you know what? Honestly, it brought tears to my eyes. I literally went in the kitchen and had a moment of thinking, people feel like they don't have options sometimes. And yet, your age can be the asset when you leverage the power of these tools. When you step in, I don't know what her life was about, I don't know her experience, but it just hit me in a particular way. The question is whether your inner copy is letting your brilliance, your potential, the opportunities that are there for you show up in your outer copy. And I don't necessarily mean you're writing it all. It could be what you're saying to other people. That's copy. It's the words, right? So whether you want to write copy for clients or just finally have messaging that works for your own business, whether you're starting from scratch or you've been trying for years and something keeps getting in the way, or you're about to make a big change in your life, a transformation, you want to travel, you want to live differently, you don't want to be tied to one place, you want to coach other people, you want to encourage other women that maybe have been through a tough road like maybe you've been on. Whatever it might be for you, it's the same conversation. The inner work can move faster than you ever expected. It doesn't have to take years of therapy. It doesn't have to take reliving every traumatic moment of your life. Even just one conversation can shift something that years of pushing never touched. When the fog clears, there's a picture, and I can help you see it. That's what I've been doing for 21 years. Now I just have a way better way to do that. So imagine sitting down to write something about your work. And instead of a blank, just a feeling of burden, that kind of panic feeling, I've got to do this. If I don't get this right, you know exactly what you want to say. Not because you followed a formula, though you may have a foundation that's helping you get there, not because you copied a template, because the thing you've been wanting to say has finally found its way through. It sounds like you, the most real version of you, maybe more real than you've experienced, maybe even in years. And when you read it back, you don't delete it, you send it, you share it, you publish it. And then something happens you weren't quite expecting. People respond. Not great post and silence, but more along the lines of, this is exactly what I've been going through. How do I work with you? I've been following you for a while, and this is the one that made me reach out. That's what becomes possible when the inner copy and the outer copy are saying the same thing. They've joined together like peanut butter and jelly, when nothing underneath is contradicting what you're putting out into the world, and you feel the difference. And so do the people you're talking to. That's not a formula. It's a shift. And it shows up in your words every single time. If you're sitting with something real and the words keep coming out wrong or just not at all because you think, I've got to do all these other things before I can do this thing, I've got to get ready, and I have so much confusion. So they're just not even showing up in any way, shape, or form. I want to invite you to come talk to me. Not a sales call. I call it a seeing session. 20 minutes. It's free. And we look at what might actually be getting in the way and what's possible on the other side of it. You don't have to know ahead of time. We'll see it together. I'm going to put the link down below here, tinalorenz.com/seeing. And I invite you to take advantage of this time to have that conversation. I'm Tina Lorenz. I'm 75 and I've been online for 21 years. And I help restless souls over 50 close the gap between the life they're living and the life they can feel waiting for them. I'd love to talk to you. So come find me and let's have that conversation. Thanks for being here today. Until next time, I will talk to you again soon. Bye for now.